Irish guy, and right, be warned. Kevin De Bruyne is a footballing legend, right? Everyone loves Kevin. This is a video where I'm going to rip him limb from limb. So, just be warned, you're probably about to cry. And also, hit that subscribe button, you absolute legends. Anyway, right, there's always a disgusting dressing room fallout at every World Cup. Honestly, it's so predictable. I mean, it's been like turning up to a 5-year-old's birthday party, and you know some little brat is gonna drink too much sugar and suddenly start pulling pigtails, punching noses, and smearing birthday cake all over his mother's wedding dress. I mean, back in 2010, it was France. I mean, remember when Nicholas Anelka led a team mutiny where they all refused to get off the bus? Yeah, I'm guessing in that moment, the coach Raymond Dominic must have felt more powerless than Michael Cera at the gym. Honestly, lads, when you stockpile over 20 grown-ups into the same lockdown regimented facility in a country with sweltering heat, and also chuck in the pressures of elite tournament football, and balance that with the toxic narcissistic egos of multi-millionaires, and honestly, there's always gonna be fights at these things. I mean, Christ, well, go back 20 years, and sitting on some small island off the coast of Japan, Roy Keane was probably contemplating whether or not to bite off Mick McCarthy's nose. But here in Qatar, I knew, you knew, we all knew there was gonna be one squad which self-implode. It says that everyone thought it would be France. The media were pinpointing the disruption in the camp. I mean, lads, the very fact that Olivier Giroud is spending a month stuffed in the same cabin as the guy who once compared him to a go-kart. I'm guessing it is a bit awkward when those two are having to share the same box of Cocoa Pops in the canteen together. I mean, it's like how John Terry is staying in the same Qatari hotel as Wayne Bridge. Oh, Christ, well, if they meet in the lobby, someone is getting a glass of orange juice chucked in their face and maybe a fork up the nose. But I never thought that it would be Belgium. And yet, this is how the golden generation ends. A country who historically, their record at World Cups was mostly about as impressive as a bag of Jeremy Clarkson sweat. I mean, this is a country with a population smaller than New York, and yet all of a sudden, for a while there, the Champions League were just infiltrated with Belgians. But look at them now. A lip stale 1-0 win versus Canada, where they actually gave away a penalty, and most recently a stale, hollow 2-0 defeat to Morocco, where Thibaut Courtois, I'm sorry, is that arguably the singular worst performance from a top-class goalkeeper at a World Cup ever? I mean, the guy conceded directly from 2 free kicks, one of which he got away with, but still, these set pieces both went in. Even when both Hakim Ziyech and then Abdelhamid Sabiri were given ankles tighter than Kathy Bates' jeans. I mean, lads, I know Ziyech has a wand of a left foot, but Sabiri, he's a Huddersfield Town flop. Those fans will probably tell you that he's about as dangerous as a constipated cat. I mean, Courtois, when you're a guy who grabs the mic after a Champions League final win and demands that you put respect in his name, you can't also be the same guy to go to a World Cup and then on the biggest, most global stage, demonstrate reflexes slower than a pig on stilts. This man got absolutely humbled. No longer can he strut around like Conor McGregor at a whiskey sale. I know, right now, I'm guessing the guy is so embarrassed and ashamed that seeing him out in public with his head held high after that. Again, no, there's more chance of Hollywood casting True Geordie and bending like Beckham too. Oh, and by the way, lads, this video is sponsored by Surfshark. And I mean, you've probably heard me talk about Surfshark once, twice, 1,000 times before. Well, they're a VPN. And again, no, I'm not talking about Van Persie's nose. Now, stop that, it's a terrible joke. No, this is a virtual private network, and one of the best features about them is that it keeps your personal information safe. You know, just in case some sadistic bored grandma on the bus is trying to hack into your email account. Lad, you can use Surfshark to change your location on Netflix. So just switch it to the American one, and no longer will you be forced to watch The Grinch. Actually, no, they probably have that on American Netflix too, don't they? I don't know, I guess you can watch Grey's Anatomy? Oh, I don't know what the kids watch. But yeah, you can watch Surfshark on across as many devices as you like. I mean, it's available on every one I can think of. I mean, it's got even more great features, one of them being alerts. I mean, this will notify you when your personal information is being leaked online. Lads, trust me, this will save your life. Unless, you know, you want photos of you picking your own belly button leaked on the internet. I mean, if that's your bag, fine, but I'm guessing you don't want that as someone's Facebook profile photo. Anyway, Surfshark are giving you all 85% off and 3 months free when you use the code irishguy10. So lads, link in the description. Go now! After that Morocco loss, Belgium were the ones who had a dressing room bust up. I mean, apparently Romelu Lukaku had to act as a dressing room bouncer in pulling Kevin De Bruyne, Eden Hazard, and Jan Vertonghen apart. Listen, I realise that KDB is a football choir boy, a consummate professional who everyone respects, and this is probably the only time I've ever criticised him, but honestly, De Bruyne, you have had a nightmare. Before the match with Morocco, De Bruyne was asked by journalists about Belgium's chances of winning the tournament. And this is what he said.
No chance, we're too old. I think our chance was 2018. We have a good team, but it is aging. We lost some key players. We have some good new players coming, but they are not at the level other players were in 2018. I see us as outsiders.
Okay, there's playing down your chances, And then there's that. De Bruyne has essentially taken a life-size poo all over his teammates' hopes. I mean, he's factually correct, sure. But I mean, don't say it. Just keep your mouth shut. I mean, a bit like if your morbidly obese cousin asks you if she looks fat in those jeans. Yes, but I'm not gonna say it or I'm probably gonna cake thrown in my face. Christ above, De Bruyne is too honest for his own good. I'm shocked. De Bruyne is a guy who never usually stirs up trouble, ever. Christ above, I mean, I spoke about Bridge and Terry earlier on. Well, go back a few years ago and De Bruyne was the Belgian Bridge and Courtois was the Belgian Terry. And then I've never heard a peep of trouble from either of them since. So to see De Bruyne rock the boat now, I'm shocked. I mean, yeah, he's right, the Belgian players are old, but so, go back to 2006, and Italy won the thing, despite most of the players probably having spent that summer collecting conkers and planning their own funerals. Honestly, Gianluigi Buffon was probably riding his will on the bus. That Italy squad was in no shape to be winning any tournament, right? I mean, De Bruyne says Belgium have lost key players since the 2018 World Cup. And I mean, he's right, they've lost Vincent Kompany, and who else? Fellaini and Januzaj? I mean, he's hardly crying in his room because there's no Nasser Chadli in the team. I mean, surely not. That would make about as much sense as turning up to a house party and spending 4 hours weeping on the couch because there's no Kit Kats in the fridge.
Oh no, we're not winning it this time because there's no Moussa Dembele in the squad.
AZ Alkmaar, Fulham, Tottenham and China. Can we please drop this myth that Dembele was in any way near world class? I mean, yes, losing Kompany was tough, but Kevin, you think that was bad? Well, thanks to your comments, now you won't even have Kompany at breakfast in the morning. I mean, they all hate you now and will avoid you like you're covered in leprosy. I mean, Italy. Since the previous World Cup in 2002, they had lost Christian Vieri and Paolo Maldini. You know, the legendary centre-half who won 5 Champions Leagues. He was a bigger loss than Kompany ever was. And Alessandro Nesta, his replacement, wasn't fit to play for Italy in the knockout rounds anyway. But I don't remember hearing the likes of Pirlo crying in the media, moaning about the fact that the rest of his teammates looked like the cast of the Golden Girls. I mean, that Croatia reached the final in 2018, and they had a far older squad than Belgium's current one. Just call a spade, Kevin. Don't make this about age. Just a bit that you're actually a bit more worried about the fact that whenever you pop down to the canteen, you get disheartened to see Lukaku and Hazard fighting over a monster bag of cookies. Admit that it does sadden you to see 2 £100 million superstars ordering Qatari Burger King every night before bed. Don't just pretend that all of a sudden you're just some surly ageist Simon Cowell. You know, someone who probably sneers down his nose at wannabe pop stars who are over the age of 26. Argentina had the oldest squad in the entirety of the 2014 World Cup. Yeah. They still reached extra time of the final. I mean, they didn't lose a single match in 90 minutes. They were 7 minutes away from taking the entire tournament to penalties. I mean, what is your point, Kevin? Similarly, France also fielded the older starting 11 in the 2006 World Cup. And again, they only lost the final on penalties. Age is not an excuse. Zidane was the best player of that tournament, and he was literally always 1 game away from retirement. And Belgium's starting 11 was, yeah, an average of 30.5 years against Morocco. Yeah, well, little old Croatia had an average age of 30.4 years in 1998, and they finished 3rd. Davor Suker won the Golden Boot, who back then was older than Lukaku now. So again, what is your point? It's all about attitude. Nobody gave Italy a chance in 2006. I mean, lads, Italian football was in crisis. A quarter of the squad had just been relegated to Serie B. The spine of their team was officially contracted to a club in the Italian second tier. Only 7 of the 23-man squad were under the age of 28. There was not a single teenager in the squad, which, to be fair, is probably for the best. I mean, imagine sticking a teenage Leonardo Bonucci into the squad, just forcing this sprightly young boy to spend a month stuck with boring old men, just reading the newspaper over lunch and arguing over politics and relaxing with an evening game of chess. I mean, imagine if you chucked a teenage Balotelli into that mix. Oh, he'd have been so bored after a week, he'd have probably just taken to burning Materazzi's clothes in a fire just for something to do. And similarly, Belgium's team is old, yes, but that is no excuse. Vertonghen was furious. I mean, he was asked after the Morocco defeat what happened, and he sarcastically said,
"We probably attacked badly because we are too old, surely."
The man is hurt. Of course he is. This is a 35-year-old centre-half who's recently been deemed no longer good enough for both Tottenham and Benfica, and is having to now apply his trade at Anderlecht, essentially the same retirement home where Kompany went to rot. I mean, he knows he's old. Christ above, in club football, he's playing in the back line with Wesley Hoyt. Remember that Southampton village clown? But I'm sorry, Vertonghen, he's got nearly 150 caps. He's been representing his country since 2007, back when De Bruyne was just some awkward teenage boy in the Genk Academy, and probably getting bullied for looking like a fat Peter Pan. I mean, players like Vertonghen and Alderweireld should shouldn't have to worry about one of their teammates effectively pointing out to the whole world to see that yes, they are probably about 3 years away from needing a nurse to help them on and off the loo. De Bruyne publicly pointing this out helps nobody.
No chance, we're too old!
He just sounds like something one of the guys might say when asked if they're going to film the In-Betweeners 3. No, this guy should be heroically leading his country into another World Cup, trying to prove everyone wrong and realize their lifelong dream, not saying no chance, we're too old. Again, that just sounds like a response from a couple of 19-year-olds when asked if they're going to attend a concert for KSI. I mean, no chance, we're too old. Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds are in their 50s, and yet they've still agreed to film another Wolverine. So if they're not saying no chance, we're too old, then no way should De Bruyne be saying that. It's just so negative. De Bruyne this summer is just a toxic lizard. I mean, who needs this level of moaning in their life when they're trying to win? You might think I'm being too hard on him, but I don't think I am. At a World Cup, you were supposed to have each other's back. Well, how can a man who's nearly 32 years of age moan at anyone else for being too old? I mean, what? I think, as a general rule, if you, as a current footballer, are able to vividly remember watching the first Toy Story in the cinema, then you can never talk about who is or isn't old. I mean, Bryan Adams was literally #1 in the charts when De Bruyne was born, so honestly, quit the ageist nonsense when you yourself most likely have wrinkles on your feet. Concentrate on your own game, Kevin, because without your fancy Manchester City toys, I mean, let's be honest, Haaland is a cheat code. I mean, without your multi-million-pound familiar surroundings, then I'm gonna say it, against Morocco, you had the creativity of a bucket of snot, just moping around the pitch. You just look like the Ginger Gareth Barry. Here's a plot twist. Belgium are not actually too old to win. Martinez is just picking the wrong team. I mean, lads, there is enough fresh young talent in that team to do big things at this World Cup. It's just this former Wigan coach is too terrified to make some big decisions and drop some big names to the bench. Just reshuffle the pack. Christ above, take Eden Hazard out of the starting 11. This guy, you shouldn't even really have made the squad. I mean, people said this guy was back after he scored in the Champions League against Celtic. I mean, this guy who gave a heartfelt speech to Madrid fans in May, vowing that he'd finally show the real him this season. Yeah, fast forward to November, and he's just meekly saying sorry for being a fat moneybags flop. I mean, he has failed to make it off the bench for Real Madrid for the last 9 league games. 9! And 14 games this season in total. Just stuffed on that bench, rotting like a pumpkin in July. This guy has been a non-entity since 2019. Just a complete utter waste of space. Someone who no doubt probably constantly stinks of the Dunkin' Donuts drive-thru. Martinez is not a strong enough coach. This is what the starting 11 should be. Fine. Sean Courtois in goal, yes. And then a back four of Thomas Meunier right back. And then Timothy Castagna at left back. But then their centre back pairing needs to change. Martinez, stop persisting with the centre back duo that Pochettino used to pick 7 years ago. Honestly, Toby and Jan. They just sound like a miserable elderly Mormon couple who just give Halloween trick-or-treaters just a lecture and a handful of licorice. Honestly, Toby and Jan. For Martinez, please stop picking the two nemesis of Michael Scott. Yes, I know, the two of them have a combined 270 international caps and deserve the utmost respect, and certainly don't deserve an egotistical, pompous Manchester City golden boy pointing out that yeah, they probably wake up 7 times a night to pee. Instead, put Wout Faes in the centre, a towering colossus for Leicester City, who's in the form of his life. I mean, come on, 5 clean sheets in his last 6 Premier League games. In that run, the only goal Leicester conceded was, ironically, a free kick from De Bruyne. So stick a 24-year-old Faes in there, alongside a 27-year-old Leander Dundonker. I mean, and yes, he can play centre half. I mean, what's old about that? Have a midfield three of 21-year-old Everton midfielder Amadou Onana, then 25-year-old Yuri Tielemans, and of course De Bruyne. Then a front three of a Finnegan Lukaku and Bobby. Throw away both Hazard brothers. Neither are in form. And lads, even the younger one, Thorgan, is nearly 30. Doesn't that just blow your mind? It's like finding out that the kid off Home Alone is nearly 50 years of age. Instead, stick Leandro Trossard into the team. I mean, he scored 7 goals in 14 Premier League matches for Brighton, including a hat-trick against arguably the best goalkeeper on planet Earth. I mean, come on! And then the final wing spot, Yannick Carrasco, who yeah, is still in his 20s and playing for Atletico Madrid. And don't forget, Belgium also have a 21-year-old attacking midfielder slash forward who plays for AC Milan, Charles de Calatare, who to be fair is struggling in Italy, but still, I would still be picking him before either Hazard brother. Honestly, choosing to pick either brother in 2022, it's a bit like Glastonbury choosing to book Jedward for next summer. I mean, go ahead, but you'll probably only have their grandma in the audience. I mean, the average age of that starting lineup I just named is 27.2, and I mean, if you put in de Calatare instead of Carrasco, it brings it down to 26.5. So honestly, Kevin, what are you on about? There is enough talent in this Belgian squad to get things right, but honestly, De Bruyne's attitude absolutely stinks. Anyway, that's me know what do you think. Let me know in the comments. Let me know what do you think about Kevin De Bruyne's comments. Let me know if you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe. As always, I'll talk to you in a while.